I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Yeah, because Sin in the chat said mass doesn't attract mass, and then I remember from school at Cavendish, so I brought it up, to ask him what his thoughts were.
Okay, the long and short story is if mass, then mass attracts mass would be the hypothesis. It doesn't have an independent or dependent variable. It's a laughable non-experiment pseudoscience. So not an experiment, no observed phenomena, no valid independent variable, and the hypothesis ends up being formulated. If mass, then mass attracts mass. It's absurd ludicrousness. So are you a baller? You believe the Earth's a sphere?
I'm on the fence because when the NASA stuff I seen, like from NASA, Apollo and all that, it's pretty much insane. So, but as far as the nature of the shape of the Earth, I'm still up in the air. That's why I found you guys.
Perfect segue. Up in the air, you say. So presumably you've just listened to the last half an hour or 3/4 of an hour of us talking to Brian and Arwin and talking about gas pressure without a container, volumes, etc. Did you listen to all that?
Yeah, but you guys are real advanced, as far as my
that's okay.
level. So
that's okay.
That's why
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to ask you some super complicated question. I just wanted to know, given that you're on the fence, do you believe the sky is a vacuum?
That's where I see the discrepancies with NASA, because I was bringing that up, where I want to see a guy in a spacesuit in a vacuum chamber on Earth. Like, how do they test the suit? It doesn't make sense. Like, you're not going to test the suit. Like, you've been doing this for 60 years. There has to be video of a vacuum chamber test of a spacesuit, and there's none. So
this is
where
guys, hello.
A bloke in a spacesuit in a vacuum chamber. That means that the sky's a vacuum. That the two proofs don't marry, do these?
Well, that's what they tell us, and that's why I want to see. And then the SpaceX, the guy has zippers on the spacesuit, and I'm like, what's going on here?
Okay, please, I beg of you. Yeah, okay, thank you. So you want to see the stuff that they claim is happening in the sky vacuum being tested on Earth. Thank you. Okay, I get it. It doesn't answer my question. Do you think the sky is a vacuum?
No, I'm not going to presume to know the truth. So I'm not going to say yes. I don't know. That's my answer.
That's fine. I don't know is a good answer. Now,
could I rephrase the question, Nathan? Do you think the sky could be a vacuum?
When listening to you guys about the vacuum next to pressure does logically make sense. So that's why I couldn't disagree with that. No.
That was a lot of yeses and nos all in the same statement. Do you want to ask me again, Adam?
Sorry.
I agree with what you guys say, and as far as vacuum next to pressure.
Okay. Let me try. If I was to make the following statement, would you agree, yes or no? So just I agree or I disagree. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we enjoy breathing would fill the space. Agree or disagree?
I would have to agree.
So the sky's not a vacuum in your reckoning, then?
No, I mean, if I had to, if you pin me down like that, I would have to agree. Yes.
Okay. Now,
in my logic, yes,
thank you. Thank you. I beg of you. There is a conclusion coming. Thank you. So, when you concern yourself about whether or not they would be testing the spacesuits on Earth to work in a place you now know isn't capable of existence, you would now appreciate that it doesn't really matter whether or not they've tested these suits on Earth in vacuums, because the sky isn't a vacuum. So that's really kind of irrelevant now, isn't it? Because who cares if they've tested it down here in a vacuum chamber? The sky isn't a vacuum, is it?
Yes, but I'm just saying, that's what they're saying. We're floating in a vacuum. Okay, so let's see the vacuum test.
No. They say that they're floating in a place that doesn't exist. You already understand logically this place, the sky, cannot be a vacuum because we wouldn't be breathing. So you're saying, well, they say it is, though. Well, so you're saying you just take their word for it about a place that can't exist? And therefore you're going to question how they operate in a place that can't exist? That seems a bit illogical. Given that it can't exist, why would you concern yourself with how it operates? It doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, you guys are advanced as far as where I'm at, so I'm just telling you about where I'm. What I question is how, you know.
It's not about being advanced, bro. It's just the logical steps, right? If they're showing you, even if they showed you a demonstration of an astronaut in a vacuum, you knowing that there can't be a vacuum of space the way we're told, then whatever they're showing you does not relate to reality. You get it?
Yeah, I understand.
So just for somebody in the audience that may not understand, just to juxtapose it into farcical nature so that it's more obvious. Now, the assertion from this guy is that, well, they say it's a vacuum. So let's say that the current rhetoric was the sky is jelly for us in England. The sky is jelly. And the rebuttal from you would be to say, well, we're yet to see them test the suits in jelly, so we don't know if they can operate in the jelly in the sky. Well, we know the sky isn't jelly, though, don't we? So does it matter if they've tested the suits in jelly? Yeah, but they say the sky is jelly. See my point?
Yeah, I understand. I'm just telling you how my mind came to question this stuff.
Perfect. But every claim that is made from a sky vacuum, that includes, but is not limited to, satellites, pictures of Earth from space, ISS, as they claim it is on their set, those are all fake automatically because all of them are claimed to be taking place in Narnia, effectively. You know, they can justify how the time dilation works in Narnia, but given that Narnia is not real, it doesn't really matter. And likewise, space isn't real. So while they say they're flying around in a sky vacuum like Superman, the sky isn't a vacuum. So that's all lies instantly.
Well, one guy brought up another point. He said if on a flat plane, the sun, you know, you should be able to take a telescope and zoom in and still see the sun. I thought that was a good point for the globe side because, you know, just like with how you said the horizon, if you keep zooming in, you could still see past where you shouldn't be able to see. If you were zooming in on the sun, why couldn't you see the sun after it sets?
What's the sun? Does it have a physical size?
Light in the sky.
Yeah, but to imply that would imply that it's a physical object getting smaller as it goes further away. So you're giving it physical attributes and a physical trajectory, and then asking me, based on your assumptions, why it's not getting too small to see and then capable of being brought back by angular limitations overcome by a camera with a greater zoom. Well, I don't know that it has any physicality or what its trajectory is. I've no idea. So I can't make any of those assumptions to say why I can't do something based on those assumptions.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's why I'm still on the fence. You know, I see good points on both sides. But you guys are like, you know, you guys are real advanced. So.
Oh, thank you. You said that 3 times.
I'm just going to listen.
Thank you very much.
Do you mind if I jump in for Incorruptible?
Go ahead, Noakes.
I put a link in the chat for the spacesuit tests. That's all.
Put a note in the chat for what? I missed the last part. Sorry.
Oh, it's for Incorruptible because he said that he didn't know if they were tested or not. So I just put a link in the chat showing how they're tested.
What were tested? Have to give us
spacesuits, like how they're testing like vacuum.
I see.
Chambers and stuff.
Yeah. That's the reason I appealed to him in terms of not concerning himself with whether or not the spacesuits are tested is because they claim to be taking place the tests in jelly. So the sky's jelly, and we're going to worry about whether or not they're tested in jelly. The sky's not a vacuum, so who cares if they've tested the suits in a vacuum? The sky isn't one. Although they say it is, the gas we breathe would be filling it. So it matters not if they've tested the suits in vacuums.
Are you talking about a perfect vacuum, or?
Are you? It's your claim.
No, we all agree that there's no perfect vacuum.
Immediate burden of proof reversal policy.
No, we all agree that there is no perfect vacuum.
Shout louder, eat your mic. No, it's your claim, my friend.
I'm not.
Do you say it's a perfect vacuum? Yeah, you say it's 10 to the minus 17 torr. It's not though, because we'd all be
That's
dead.
not perfect.
We'd all be dead.
And,
We wouldn't have any gas.
And then you just came in to let them know that there's
It's
like
not perfect, but it's still a
there is no
vacuum,
perfect
right?
vacuum.
According
That's
to
all.
you. Hello.
Lower pressure due to the absence of gas pressure.
No, he's trying to hang his hat on the. Well, did I say it was a perfect vacuum? No, we didn't say it was a perfect vacuum either. Doesn't have to be. Were these suits tested and 10 to the negative 17 torr?
The ISS isn't in 10 to the negative 17.
I know.
It'll-
That wasn't my fucking question, now, was it?
So why does it need to be in 10 to the minus 17?
That wasn't my question. My question was,
You
were
asked,
these suits
you
tested
asked if it was in 10 to the minus 17. Why does it have to be
Now
that?
you're going to overtalk me,
It's a
little
yes or no
crayon muncher.
question. It's a
Right?
yes or no question.
Because you know it's your ass. Did I bring up the ISS? Did I say
No,
what the
but you
torr
asked-
value of where
No,
the
but-
ISS
no, but
is
you asked
supposed
if it was in
supposed
10 to
be?
the minus 17.
He asked if the suit was
Did I
tested.
say anything like that? Why would you answer with the ISS?
Yes, you said was it in 10 to the minus 17?
I said, here we go again. Listen, I know you're a baller. I'll try to break it down. Did they test the suits in a 10 to the negative 17 torr vacuum?
Is that not exactly what I just repeated to you?
Is it a
Oh
yes
my
or no
God,
answer? Just yes or no.
I don't know the exact pressure.
It's a
And
no,
no, I
they
don't
didn't.
think it was
No,
10 to the
no,
minus
you
17.
can't do that on Earth. No, Mr. I don't know. They didn't. No.
Okay, I don't think
Did
it
they,
was.
did
I
they
said
test
that.
these suits in the ISS?
No, it was on the ground.
So why would you even say that?
Because he brought up 10 to the minus 17. I was asking why it needs to be that.
Yeah, but
It's your claim.
in your narrative, is the ISS even in 10 to the negative 17 torr?
No, it's about 10 to the negative 8th, somewhere in that.
So
Yeah.
again, irrelevant.
No, I was asking why he
Did
was
they
bringing
test
up
these-
10 to the
Okay,
minus 17.
hold on. Sorry to interrupt. So let's hear your story. What is the proposed torr value where the ISS is?
You got it right and correct.
So, did they test these suits in 10 to the negative 8th torr?
I don't know the exact tour.
Yeah, and if so, I want to know where because there isn't one on Earth. A testing site. The closest you can get, 10 to the negative 6 torr.
Mm.
So, no, they didn't test these suits, right? Even with your ISS claim. Thanks.
Meanwhile, the sky is not a vacuum because if it was, we wouldn't have any gas to breathe. It would have all filled that volume.
Exactly.
In that vein. How do you have gas pressure without a container, Mr. ISS?
Can't.
You can't.
No, we have two Mr. ISSs in here. Of course, one's the owner of the show.
My bad. Sorry, Neil. Shut up. It's your fault.
Where's
I'm on mute.
Where's Mr. ISS at? How can you have gas pressure without a container? Yoo-hoo, Mr. ISS.
He's Googling it.
Mr. ISS IPPI. How do you have
Wait, you're
gas
talking to
pressure
me?
without a container?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Didn't you already have that conversation?
Not with you.
Okay, but you had it with Mom, man. And I agree with what he said. So
I've had the conversation 100,000 times. What does that have anything to do with my question?
so what's the point of me having the same conversation? It's just going to be repeating.
Well, it's gonna. Well, we want to get the right story.
Well, it goes back and forth because you just keep whenever we bring up the whole pressure decreases as you go up, you keep mentioning well you can't have pressure without a container, and it just goes back and forth from there. So there's no point in
It
having the
doesn't go
conversation.
back and forth. You're bringing up a red herring fallacy. We're not talking about delta X, the change in pressure. We're talking about gas pressure. Let me ask you a question. What comes first, X or delta X?
You already had that conversation with my man. It was X.
That doesn't answer my question.
Do you just agree with the conversation that went prior? Because he said that. He said it gets to the point where we say, well, you can't have a gas pressure gradient without a container. He's already conceded that. So he knows where the conversation ends. But that means that you concede then at the end, you can't have gas pressure without a container then.
I'll agree on a smaller scale.
Small scale. The second law of thermodynamics isn't scalar.
It depends on what you mean by a container. Like, you're talking about like a tangible container in the earth.
A physical container. A container is physical.
So the sky can't be a vacuum. Again, like I said to the other guy, meaning that all tests relating to space on the ground with vacuum chambers and spacesuits, all claims that are taking place. Oh, this is going to trigger him, obviously. The conclusion. Yeah, so all claims from a sky vacuum are all fake. Because you can't have a sky vacuum. We wouldn't have any gas here. It'll piss off into space. So
what is there still pressure? There's still pressure where? And what's the relevance?
The fact that there's pressure still in space, just extremely low.
Yeah, but it's exponential magnitudes lower.
Okay.
So, according to the second law of thermodynamics, gas pressure will flow into places, high gas pressure will flow into lower gas pressure spontaneously, increasing entropy. It will attempt to fill the available volume. Your volume is 3.58 times 10 to the negative 80th or 10 to the 80th cubic meters. That's a lot of friggin' volume, dude. Why isn't the gas attempting to fill the volume following the second law of thermodynamics?
I don't
know. I know. Because
too.
your space vacuum out there isn't really a vacuum. Because if it would be, you wouldn't be breathing.
Precisely. No, the reason it's not filling the sky vacuum is because the sky is not a vacuum. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill the space. And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you who tuned in on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, and for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff.